Greetings, Binary Dragon here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a fully automated farm collection system. This is using a lot of the new features that are in the brand new Snapshot 13w01b. As such, it is subject to change or even break as bugs in the snapshot are fixed, but it works right now and hopefully will continue to work in the future. So yeah, let's get started. What you can see here is your very basic cactus farm. Drops are falling into the water and then pulling down into this single collection point. This can work for any type of farm where you can collect your drops like this, so a mob farm, pumpkin farm, melon farm, anything where you can collect them. And those drops are just going in, going into this hopper here, and that hopper is going to fill up until it's exactly 3 fistfuls, so it has 3 full stacks worth. And the way that it's doing that is I have next to the hopper a comparator, and that's one of those new features that Dinnerbone snuck in with the 01b snapshot, is that pretty much any stationary item with an inventory, so chests, hoppers, dispensers, etc., they will output a signal through a comparator indicating how full they are. And I have a redstone signal coming out of it here that is just the right length, so that as soon as the 3rd stack of this is complete, that last bit of dust there is going to light up, and that's going to power the detector rail that this minecart is sitting on. And that should happen any second now. So let's watch that. Okay, so that sends the cart over here. Now the detector rails here are off, so it stops. But in the meantime, it sends a signal down here from that. I'm sorry, power rail, not detector rail. But it sends a signal down down this detector rail here. These bits of redstone, the repeaters are kind of a fudge factor, but here's the primary clock that it's sending in motion. It's just a kind of a minecart clock, and this takes just a couple of minutes to go down. I did some timing, and the hopper up here is emptying about 1 stack every 23 seconds, which works out to about 10 minutes for a full cart's worth of materials, or a single chest as well. So you can see that the cart's filling up, and when that cart there, I don't know if you saw that, hit the bottom, it turned around. There was some signal stuff over here I'll explain in just a moment, but the net effect is it pulled this cart away from the hopper, so this cart is no longer filling up. And you can see it has about 6 stacks left to be filled. And that's an important little feature, is that it's really hard to fill a cart evenly using the hopper, because the hopper can hold 5 stacks, whereas the cart can hold 27. Those numbers do not divide well into one another. So the way I'm getting around that is I'm filling it with 3 stacks. That's why this signal activates when this has 3 stacks in it. Filling it up with 3 stacks 9 times, and then that will fully fill the chest. So the way I'm getting that is this timer here, plus these repeaters are just kind of, because that timer doesn't quite get it to the exact amount of time, but a little extra delay does, will fill almost exactly 3 stacks in the cart. When this cart comes back around after it's gone down the webs, it hits this detector rail and sends a signal up here to the powered rail that pushes the cart back and it's just going to repeat in this loop, on and on. Now, that's not exactly useful because we need to get the cart out of that loop when it is full. So the way we do that is we have here just a shift counter. So I can stick a little lever here to imitate the cart going by, and when I pulse that lever, you see here the signal traveled one down the line. So this line here is 10 long, but there are actually 9 stages to it, and I'll show you why that is in just a moment. It's when it hits that last one, it does something special. So in addition to pushing the car around, it goes down this counter. When this shift counter hits the very last repeater here, that's going to power this here, which is going to depower this torch, which will then flip this curved piece of track here. It'll flip it so it turns like this, and that's going to cause the cart to, instead of coming back around for the loop, it's going to come straight forward and go through there. And that's going to be where we're going to ultimately deposit our items. In addition, on the ninth time around, it's going to shift that track, but also it's going to send a signal all the way back over here. And this device here is just a pulse generator. This will create a pulse just like the minecart does when it goes over the track over here. We have a little repeater here to increase the length of that pulse so that our pulse detector here can actually get it all going, and that will cause everything to kind of tick one more time, and because this line will still be powered at that moment, that will then cause this repeater to light up. So be able to see that when I toggle this once more. So then it goes around, and you can see now it's right back at the beginning. So the counter is resetting itself in addition to sending that last little bit there. So let's go ahead and just kind of skip to the chase here. We'll fill up our cart and send it on its way. This button's just for some kind of manual control. So when that's full, we can see what's going to happen when the counter gets to the very end. So when that cart falls, or when I flip this lever one more time, it's going to get to the last thing in the counter, and that's going to send it off to our ultimate collection point. So let me do that one more time, and all right, got a little stuck there because I forgot to turn that powered rail on. I had that off for some testing earlier. But when that power rail is turned on, it'll continue onward. You'll see it hit this detector rail on its way out, which powered this power rail and sent this other cart along the way. Now, the hopper was full at the time, and so the cart actually didn't stop here. It went straight to the hopper to fill up some more, and the cart falling from back there, because I was doing some manual stuff, sent it back too soon. But when you're not messing with it, it works. The timing works out. So this cart, which was empty, is now filling up and is going to go through 9 times as well until it's full, and repeat the same process. By the time that's done, the cart that we just sent through is going to come back and be waiting here. And so you always have one cart filling at your farm and one cart over at your collection point that is emptying its contents. That way, you're not wasting any drops coming from your farm. Every drop from your farm should be able to make it into a cart and to your collection point using this system, up to the capacity of a hopper to empty out. If your farm's producing faster than that, you might run into problems, but you'd have to build a heck of a farm to do that. So I'm going to now move over here past this wall, which is just kind of a visual separation. This could be any distance from one side of the wall to the other between your farm and your collection point, so long as you make sure that you keep all your chunks loaded, of course. So this here is the second half of our collection device, and this is what happens at the collection end. So the cart comes through here, and when it comes into the collection point, it's going to send this redstone signal through, and that's going to activate this dispenser, which is going to spit, in this case, a cactus on a pressure plate. When that cactus despawns after 5 minutes, it's going to power that torch and do it again to this dispenser. And we'll get to that despawning in just a moment. But in the meantime, this cart has landed on a hopper and is emptying its wares. Now, I did some timing on this, and so far as I can tell, it takes exactly 10 minutes for this cart to empty out, which works out fairly well, actually, because you may recognize an item on a wooden pressure plate as being a 5-minute timer, and 2 of those works out to exactly 10 minutes. So this should, to within a couple of blocks, empty out the cart, and I just have it going into a hopper into a chest. You can, of course, tile these hoppers and chests in order to get more storage capacity, because this obviously won't last too long. So yeah, let's talk about the device here, our timer. So when this last one despawns, so this will be after 10 minutes after enter our collection point, is going to activate that torch. This is a rising edge detector, so when that torch activates, but not when it deactivates, it will send a pulse. Little lag there, sorry about that. It's going to send a pulse, and that's going to go up to this piston, which is going to push our minecart onto this powered rail, and because it has a backing, it's going to shoot it off and send it right back to the staging area, waiting for the next cart to finish filling. This would, if I didn't manually collect that cactus, would be empty. And then after a certain amount of time, whoops, that's not the, if you want to kind of manually force the system to go faster, you have to alternate hitting that button and then toggling, not that one, that lever. So it's a little annoying to manually force through, but that's not its design. It's meant to be automatic. And yeah, so I'm just kind of doing this so you can see how everything's going to run its way through. I guess I can actually increase the counter by itself like that. So we have our cart would be coming in again for its last fill, and then when that timer, sorry, some more lag there. That's happening when Fraps is switching to a new file. I'm afraid I can't do too much about that, but so when that cart finishes through, I'll give you a view from this angle this time. You can see what happens. So it's going to switch that track and then send that cart along, which is going to then send this cart. And then as soon as this hopper gets back to its being 3 full stacks, help it along there, a few more, and there. Okay, so as soon as that hopper comes back, then it's going to start filling this, and the process is going to repeat itself. And over here, this cart is now emptying itself, and we have restarted our 10-minute timer. So, yeah, completely automated, should work forever. If your chests fill up, if your minecarts start to have too many items in them, the worst that will happen, as far as I've been able to figure out through my testing with this, is just that eventually the hopper is going to fill up completely, and items are just going to sit here and not going to the carts because you're kind of pulling them out a little too slowly. But at the rate that you are getting items from this system, which is you can pull at least a full chest worth, a single chest full of items every 10 minutes, so 6 chests an hour, which is probably faster than you'll be able to use anything. Losing a couple items in that worst case probably isn't a big deal. So yeah, hopefully this will help some of you guys out in making some automated systems. I do want to show one last thing, which is that throughout here I'm using a system where I'm running a track perpendicular into some powered rail with a block behind it, and thus the powered rail will, when powered, will send the cart along as kind of a staging area. I'm using that here and over here as well, and it can be a little tricky if you don't know how to get that to actually lay out the way you want it to. So if you just try to do something like this, that can work, but oftentimes what you'll have is, depending on exactly, I think it's east-west rule, that if you try to do it the other way, so if I run the power rail this way and then this like that, my power rail is going to not face the right direction. So if your farm just isn't oriented where you want to, lay your rail so that you can get around this east-west rule kind of thing, the way you'll need to lay it is you'll need to lay one extra power track, then lay your incoming rail like so, and then you can delete that extra power track and put the block behind it, and everything will work nicely from there. So yeah, rail can be a little odd to work with sometimes, so I just wanted to point that out in case anyone wasn't aware, so you don't get stuck. I'm going to put a world download in the comments of this video, so you should be able to kind of look around and see how everything works. Like I said, it's all fairly basic parts. You have a simple mine cart clock here, got a pulse generator there, a shift counter there, a dispenser timer here, a rising edge detector there. These are all things that are well known, and you can look up on the wiki if you're not sure exactly how to build them, or just look in the world download file and kind of see how they're built. Yeah, this is really also just kind of a proof of concept. So it can definitely be optimized a lot. It can be shrunken down quite a bit, I'm sure. But all the necessary parts are here and working. So you should be able to do this yourself.